So I've actually had a shower. It's March 31st, it's the end of the month, 2020. And I can safely say now that the last 2 weeks, I'm looking a bit red. Yeah, I think the last 2 weeks have been very intense, and I kind of only really recollected in myself today that from when this whole thing really kicked off here, which I think was about the 16th or 17th of March, I've been in a tiswas. Yeah, kind of, but like almost kind of that kind of denial, almost totally inanely positive, like it's all fine and what a wonderful thing for the planet and everything stopped. And I've come to terms with the fact that yes, it's going to improve a lot of things. We're definitely in some kind of paradigm shift. But it's still an uncertainty. It's still, an unknown what the world becomes as a result of this. What happens from now? Everything will change. It's like that Twin Towers that came down, it changed the whole way that we travelled and fly around the world. And that's happening again with this. But I don't really have, loads of mistrust or ideas about conspiracies or anything like that. Like I said from the start, I've always felt that this could be a really monumentally life-changing transformation for the planet, for people, and for an awakening. Just realised that I just put lip salve on, lip balm, beeswax. So yeah, I sort of think that where I'm at right now, where I'm struggling with is when I don't do enough and when I'm not active enough, I sort of go into a bit of a more of a repressed, depressed slumber almost. I become a bit OCD, or I get, and maybe that's a good thing right now. I don't know if it is. But, like over cleaning and overthinking and over obsessing about everything. And I've just blitzed the house, sprung clean. Like I said, I was doing that spring cleaning. But now I've come into a space of like, I'm just being too methodical about everything. And, I really got into such a lovely space this year, actually. I think, really, at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, January, where I just focused on things that really did matter. Now cleanliness seems to matter again. Whereas I was so over-obsessed about cleanliness, it was ridiculous. And I thought, I've got something wrong with me. And actually it's quite ironic now, because now I can slip back into that mode and think, this is really useful. I really need to be clean, and I really need to be aware of everything and keep everything very, very precise when I go out, what I touch, wearing gloves, wearing a mask, all that stuff. But it also makes me feel really neurotic. I don't want to live my life that way, and I just got used to not living my life that way. And the sort of like these tendencies I had, or these kind of, also addictions and behavioural patterns that were starting to shift, have just come back. But maybe it's like, a double challenge for me, for all of us. I know that Russell Brand's been talking a lot about addiction, and how he's, without being able to go out and meet people, it's just that whole restrictiveness, being able to go and do the things that make you feel whole and healthy as a person, as a human being. So a whole new layer has come in of, that feeling restricted, feeling that you can't go and do what you want to do. Freedom essentially has been taken away from us. So another reality sets in, where I even know the negative, unhealthy, eating patterns that I've been doing that start kicking off a whole load of ailments in me. Yeah, I still do it. It's a self-destruct. And I guess that's the same with all addictions. Everyone's doing that, right? People who are alcoholics know that when they drink, it's bad for them. Bad for them in so many ways. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, ultimately. But, my thing has definitely always been food, the food addiction, and eating the wrong kind of food that puts weight on and actually impacts my physical health in such a way that it affects my mental, emotional health, because I don't want to do stuff, because I start feeling pain, because of digestive issues and other issues, and you know, it's all brought on by that thing, and I'm so aware of it. I've been aware of it for over 10 years now and been correcting it over the years, but I do know that when I slump into something that doesn't feel comfortable, then that is my go-to for happiness. And it's not happiness, it's just not. It's really negative. It's an excuse. It's an old paradigm way of thinking. It's you know, it's an excuse. It's going into the shadow side of the self. And I don't like it, really. There's all these kind of like, there's languages being born so much recently in the New Age world. I haven't even got to grips with it, but you know, there's so many different words and terminology now that we apply to all of that kind of behavior. And yeah, I mean, I feel it. I know what it feels like. But wording it is, I think most people understand what I mean when we go down our rabbit hole of destruction, the wrong path, you know, and then sliding out of it is good. And I used to always think that I could balance things. Oh, it's okay if I have like a little bit of, you know, chocolate. Chocolate isn't actually all that good for us. It's got a lot of fat in it and caffeine. Yeah, it's great to have raw cacao sometimes, but it's actually everything in moderation, okay? So it's actually not that good to have on a daily basis, you know. And so if I go, oh, I'll have this today, or I'll have jam on toast, you know, most people think that's okay, but it's not okay if it's not good for you and you know that your body reacts to it, you know. So my perfect meal, I guess, in the morning would be a smoothie or a green juice or something, or, you know, soaked oats, you know what I mean, all this kind of thing. Overnight oats, they call them now. I mean, I was soaking them 15, 20 years ago and eating them raw before it was popular, but you know, then I go away from something like that, start cooking again. But you know, so to have some soft fruits in with things like that. It's not really season right now, but you know, all those kind of things, the dried berries and nuts and seeds and stuff like that. But you know, instead it's like, oh, I'll just have this instead because it's easy, because we're in a crisis, and it's such a silly excuse. But then I did yoga this morning, and then I realised, oh, this feels so good. Why am I not doing yoga? Because I followed a friend who's doing an online class, which is great. But then I think to myself, why am I not doing this every day properly for an hour or an hour and a half, you know? And I start getting annoyed with myself. And then I just like, you know what? I just really don't like myself sometimes. I'm leaning into sloth, laziness, you know, indulgence mode. And I've done it so much with all these kind of excuses in my head. I don't even know where they come from. So, you know, I can definitely relate to, you know, sinking into a depressed state, maybe not having contact with others, trying to alienate myself from the world, saying, well, I'm not like anyone else, so, you know. But actually, we are all the same, and we're all on this awakening journey. I even wanted to blame it on menopause, you know, I'm getting older, I look older. It's like, oh my God, wrinkles, grey hair, this is horrific, you know. And it's a self-perpetuating circle. It's awful, because then you start thinking, oh, I look awful, I must feel awful, that's what's going on. No. Anyway, the positive thing about what this has all brought to me is that I was looking in a book. Yeah, it was a book. And these pieces of paper fell out. And it's really good. I wrote these back in 2018, winter time. It was about Christmas time. About the winter solstice, Christmas time, yeah. And it's this thing that we can do for ourselves. We give ourselves the perfect dose of everything we need for helping us with what we need. I do believe that we can self-manifest. We can bring towards us and attract towards us what we need. I believe we are in ultimate powerful beings, and we are in control of our reality as much as we want to be. By believing in that, we are it, you know. So this is whatever you want it to be. I mean, you know, I'm going to say to myself, the perfect dose of Reiki, you could say Reiki, or the perfect dose of white, illuminating diamond white light, whatever, fills and surrounds my being now and remains in effect for as long as it is strengthening. Thank you, great overhead divine. So whatever you want to call God, or if you call thank you source energy, thank you the universe, thank you, mother, father, God, thank you Gaia, whatever it is you believe in, you can say the perfect dose of fills and surrounds my being now. So that's the powerful words, and remains in effect as long as it is strengthening. There's all these kind of like emotional freedom technique where you do the tapping. Even if I feel low and totally incompetent, inadequate, I love and accept myself completely right now. Oops, I was tapping that. So yeah, be walking in your truth and your path. I think it's just acceptance as well. So just sitting with it and going, I feel like this today. I'm aware of it. I'm going to acknowledge it, and I'm just going to be in the presence of what's happening and witness this is what I'm feeling, without having to do anything about it or change it. So, I'm trying not to judge myself, but at the same time as me going, oh, I want to eat those things. Oh, I think I'll have a crumpet. I'm just acknowledging it, going, okay, I am aware of the fact that I want that food, I want that kind of thing, but I'm not going to have it. I'm just going to be aware of the fact that it's something I desire right now, but I'm just going to, be aware of that and move on. And not beat myself up, So there we go. So another one that's really nice is I command all others' energy return to them in a perfect healing and colour and tone now. So in case you have ever taken something that wasn't yours, even if you thought about somebody in the wrong way, you thought about them in the right way or whatever, but like if you're collecting other people's energies in your head and your thoughts, then this is a nice way to release them back. I command all others' energies return to them in a perfect healing colour and tone now. I command all of my energies return to me in a perfect healing colour and tone now. And I think especially with all this stuff going on with the COVID, we're saying a lot of things on social media, we're reading things, we're getting mixed up maybe in talking about stuff, writing things down to other people, and it's all out there, and social media is all like woo, swirling around in this massive big like black goo or something, but not necessarily black, but it's just all sticky, and it's just there. And I just think, to release ourselves from that and collect ourselves back, because there's been loads of stuff going on and being said, and judgments and ping pong back forth conversations and comments. So I think that's a good one. And then again, acceptance and gratitude. Thank you, Mother, Father, God, Great Overhead Divine, Mother Gaia, Source Energy, the universe. So this is like a psychic dosing, if you like. You think of a substance that you need, or a material, or an energy, and you phrase it for yourself or others. So again, whatever it is you want, this is what I wrote down. Was my wish was guide me to the best lifestyle and community and environment that I need. Or, again, I can say the perfect dose of what I need in my community fills and surrounds my being now and remains in effect as long as it is strengthening. These are really good tools, and I think just trying it out. That I think the reason I use the community and environment is because I find that's what seems to affect me the most, and that's what tends to throw me into a sort of negative spiral. I mean, I'm saying that I probably use any excuse really, but I suppose the best one I could use is the perfect dose of health fills and surrounds my being now and remains in effect as long as it is strengthening. The perfect dose of good health fills and surrounds my being now and remains in effect as long as it is strengthening. That's it. The perfect dose of good health fills and surrounds my being and remains in effect as long as it is strengthening. I think that's pretty good. That says it in a nutshell. Bye. I'm trying to say goodbye.